Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty huge, the future of work in Pennsylvania. It's a state with this incredible industrial past, but right now, it's standing at a major crossroads. So let's kick things off with a number, 94,000. Back in 2019, that's how many people in Pennsylvania had a job in clean energy. Now, that's a decent start for sure, but to be honest, it was already falling behind some of its neighbors, where the green economy was creating jobs at a much faster clip. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. You know, that decade between 2025 and 2035, it's a genuine fork in the road for the state's entire workforce, and the outcomes couldn't be more different depending on which path gets chosen. So let's actually walk down these two very different roads and see where they lead. It really breaks down into two clear scenarios. Path 1 is about doubling down on the state's legacy in fossil fuels. Path 2, well, that's about hitting the accelerator on a transition to a green economy. So what does this actually mean for the people on the ground, for the workers? All right, first up, let's explore future number 1. This is a Pennsylvania where policies really favor traditional energy and kind of pump the brakes on all things green. In this world, job growth in renewables is, well, it's pretty slow. We're talking about maybe a few hundred new jobs in solar and a few hundred in wind over an entire decade. It's not like the industry vanishes, but that's a huge missed opportunity for growth. For blue-collar workers, this really stings. That explosive growth in green jobs you hear about nationally, it just doesn't happen here. I mean, wind turbine technician is one of the fastest-growing jobs in America, but in this scenario, Pennsylvania mostly watches from the sidelines. Job openings are in the dozens, not the thousands. Okay, you might be thinking, but what about the fossil fuel jobs? And that's a fair question. A huge project, say a new natural gas export terminal, could create around 3,000 construction jobs while it's being built. And that's a big, very visible boost. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Timing. It's a temporary boom. It's great while it lasts, but it's not a long-term source of stable employment. Once the concrete is poured and the pipes are laid, the number of people needed to actually run the place is just a tiny fraction of that construction crew. And meanwhile, in the background, technology is just marching on. In this future, without a booming green sector to create new kinds of jobs, the rise of AI and automation in areas like trucking could mean a lot of Pennsylvanians actually end up losing their jobs with nowhere to go. But look, that's just one version of the story. What if Pennsylvania decides to make a completely different set of choices? And that brings us to future number 2. This is a future where Pennsylvania decides, you know what? Let's put our foot on the gas and really go for this green transition. The numbers here tell a totally different story. By boosting its renewable energy goals, the state could create something like 129,000 job years. Now, a job year just means one person working for 1 year. So to put that in perspective, that's like giving almost 13,000 people a steady, full-time job for a solid decade. And a picture like this really gives you a feel for the scale of that opportunity. In this future, you'd see a massive surge in investment. Wind farms like this one popping up, huge solar projects, and a top-to-bottom modernization of the entire energy grid. And just look at the growth in one sector alone. It's incredible. With the right policies, solar jobs could easily double, maybe even triple. And these are local jobs, installers, maintenance crews, spread out in communities all across the state. Oh, and then there's the unsung hero of all this, energy efficiency. This becomes an absolute economic engine. Think about it. Retrofitting old buildings creates tens of thousands of stable, local jobs for electricians, HVAC techs, carpenters. And these are jobs that cannot be outsourced. They have to happen in every single town. The move to electric vehicles also kicks off a whole new world of jobs. And we're not just talking about mechanics learning new skills. We're talking about electricians installing chargers everywhere, factory workers building batteries, and a huge investment in better public transit. It's a complete ecosystem. Now, what's really crucial here is that this whole shift is guided by an idea called the just transition. This isn't just about creating a bunch of new jobs and hoping for the best. It's about intentionally building bridges, making sure workers from the old industries have clear pathways and real support to move into these new, high-quality green careers. Okay, so let's bring it all together. Let's look at the choice ahead by putting these two futures right next to each other. When you see it laid out like this, the contrast is, well, it's impossible to ignore. In one future, you've got stagnant job growth and automation as a huge threat. In the other, you have a sustained boom in construction and so many new transportation jobs that they more than make up for the impact of AI. We're talking about a difference of tens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of jobs. And that, right there, is why this choice matters so much. This isn't just about where the state gets its power. It's about its long-term economic health. It's the difference between betting on industries that need fewer and fewer workers over time versus investing in new ones that have almost limitless potential for growth. So in the end, the fate of Pennsylvania's workforce isn't already written. It really all comes down to the policy decisions that are being made right now. And that leaves us all with a pretty critical question to think about as this crucial decade gets underway.